Good morning and welcome everyone. Today I have the pleasure of being here with my colleague Marcos, who will lead the second part of the webinar. Okay. So what we are going to talk today in this Jaltest webinar? Well, we are going to talk about preventive maintenance on off-highway equipment. As you well know, a good maintenance plan is a key factor to save money and time when working with expensive assets like the off-highway machines. So for this reason, we wanted to talk a little bit about why this is so important and why fleets companies and shops of the off-highway industry should invest in preventive and predictive maintenance instead of performing reactive maintenance as many companies still do nowadays. Okay. Another key element of this webinar is going to be the importance of having the right tools to increase our maintenance capabilities to stop depending on third parties and reduce the downtimes of our machines. So what I'm talking is about the diagnostics tools, okay? So first, as I have said, we will start checking the new environment that the companies of our industry are facing nowadays. In other words, how the technology and the new systems integrated in the last 10 years have changed the way we repair and maintain our equipment. Okay. Second, we will compare the reactive maintenance planification with the preventive one, and that is this is gonna be the maintenance that we recommend to carry out. Okay, the better one. Okay, after that we will have a look to the importance of having a diagnostics tool in our shop to boost that prevention and increase our capabilities. Finally, we will see what's coming on to the industry. So for example, um, telematic solution, predictive maintenance, and new software and technologies that we have right now in the industry, okay? So let's start. So where we are right now, this is the opening question to this webinar. Okay, in the last few years, we have seen how our equipment have been changing with new sensor components and system itself, like for example, the DPF, the DOC, the SCR, new technology, new system components that has make an impact in the maintenance and the repair ways. Okay, so this evolution has also modified, as I say, the routinary checks that the technicians and the mechanic have to carry out in order to keep the assets working. Okay, so everything have become more complex. We need new knowledge about those components, about those intervals and requirements to keep the machine working and to keep the machine also out of the rates. Like for example, as most of you may know, when we are not carrying out maintenance on DPF and other after treatment system, we are going to have a derate. So in other words, a downtime. Requirements has increased in the last year. We need once again more knowledge. We need to take care about the control emissions. We have more electronic components, so we have to learn more about electromechanics, and we have to take care about manufacturer specification, because every make, every model, and every system is a whole universe of technical data and requirements. Okay, this evolution has been accompanied or provoked by the increase of technology. As I have said before, we have more components and we have more information available too. That's because every system in every excavator, dozer, crane comes with a computer inside, the ECM. This ECM control and monitor the sensor and let us know what the machine needs. So it's like having a screen that is recording, like a camera, sorry, recording everything. So we are going to have more information. So in other words, we can be more proactive when we are doing our maintenance. But also that technology require new tools and software in our shops, okay? Okay, so these environments, in other words, impact in our fleet in the following way. Okay, the maintenance has become more expensive, more complex, with manufacturer specification, with electromechanics, with less freedoms, because we are going to need uh, tools. We are going to need OEM services. We are going to need a extra hand on our repairs and our maintenance. So for fleets and also for off-highway shops, the increase of downtimes have increased. Also, we are going to need more parts and components for doing the maintenance, for doing the repairs. We are going to have to take care of that control emissions, that control over the emissions, and we need to be more efficiency, okay? So this environment is a little bit complex, okay? Many companies that are not being prepared for this new world of doing maintenance and repair assets, well, they are losing money, losing time, depending on third parties, and at the end of the day, not having the control they need to keep their fleets working, okay? So there are two scenarios in the ways that we are repairing and taking care of our machines. The first one that we are going to see is the reactive maintenance that unfortunately is still one of the most used in the United States. So it's important to do this exercise of education, to let the companies know that right now there are solutions and ways to work more efficiently, okay? So the cost of owning a machine, a single construction vehicles, goes from $35,000 to $80,000, excluding the price of the machine itself. Okay, so in this average price, we are taking care only of 4 elements of expense. Okay, so that are the cost of working and operational expense. So, for example, the workers, the transportation, the parking, the fuel, etc. The maintenance cost as well, and then the spare part cost for these repairs and change, like for example filters, belts, replacement, etc. Okay, so it is important to highlight that in these four expenses that we have talked about, the if we put away the cost of working, that is going to be the most expensive one, and we only compare how much cost a maintenance plan and how much cost spare parts, repairs, service outside of our shop, etc. It's important to highlight that the repair are always more expensive than maintenance, okay? Not just because of the price, but because of the time. When the machine is not working, we are kind of throwing our investment and projects to the garbage. And even though many companies are still waiting until the last minute to take care of the machine, okay? So here I have a sentence that is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That is very popular in our industry and is completely wrong. It is important to be proactive, to take care before the problem pop-ups. And there are many tools right now that allow us to carry out that and save up that time that I think is more important even than the money that we can save. So this type of maintenance, reactive maintenance, is what we call when the company is only repairing when necessary, only repairing when the machine stops, when the problems appear, and not even then when the machine is break. Okay, so the second option we have, instead of doing the reactive maintenance, and the one we propose, the alternative, is going to be easy, a planification. Okay, so preventive maintenance is a planification. It's the care, servicing, and periodic inspection for the purpose of maintaining equipment in satisfactory operating condition by providing systematic inspection, detection, and correction of deficiencies. Okay, so doing a planification, checking daily and weekly our assets, we are going to save a lot of money in spare parts, repairs, etc. How we can perform this maintenance is easy. We only have to follow the technical specification that the OEM recommends. So that is the maintenance intervals, and we should perform regularly diagnostics scans, okay, to identify the problems earlier. Okay, every system has a specific information, a specific things that we have to take care. So for example, we are going to have a maintenance intervals for engines, for transmissions, for the after treatment, for the attachment, etc. And we are going to need usually a diagnostics tool for every manufacturer, for every system, if we want to take care of all of them. So that is important that we have to keep in our minds, that in order to be able to control those ECMs that are sending us that information that is very precious to carry out the preventive maintenance, we are going to need a tool. We are going to need a hardware that can talk with them. Okay, so this is very important. Doing this, following the OEM instruction and using a diagnostics tool, we can reduce the breakdowns, we can increase the preventive repairs, we can have less downtimes, and we can schedule those downtimes as well, having more availability of our machine, and also saving in shop expense. Okay, so in other words, doing a preventive maintenance, we are going to have a greater control of our resources and a greater economic boost in our project. So it doesn't matter if we are a shop or if we are a fleet, a construction or a mining company. If we take care of our assets and our investment, we are going to be more productive also in our core business, okay? Because we are going to have our machines working the most of the time possible, okay? So if we have a look to the money and the time that we expend in these two different strategies, we are going to see a scenario that is similar to the graphic that we have right now on the screen, okay? In red, we have the reactive maintenance planification, and in blue, the preventive one. As you can see, if we do not expend any money or time on the machine until the problem appears, suddenly what we are going to have is a surprise. Okay, we are going to have unexpected downtimes, unexpected expense because of the lack of planification. So that's will happen with every machine. So if you are having more than one machine, more than one vehicle, this graph is going to be 10 times or 20 times more because we have 20 machines. So it is important that even if we think that we are saving money because we are not doing maintenance, and I'm not talking only about checking the oil or checking the belts, because this is basic maintenance that many companies or almost all of them are taking care of, but I'm talking also about doing diagnostics, about taking care and monitoring the data that the ECMs are displaying to us, and also having access weekly to the maintenance intervals that the manufacturer recommend. If we are not taking care of that, our scenario can become a nightmare, because we are going to have surprise every week. We are going to have downtimes, we are going to have derates because of the after treatment, etc. So on the other hand, in blue, we have the constant cost of keeping a regular preventive maintenance, something planned when everything is under control, and when we can have our machines back to work and take care of them only at night or when we do not need them. So it is, as I say, important to have a tool that allow us to carry out this, to read that code, to read that and monitor that information, to carry out those bidirectional tests, and to have that technical information available. So right now, I'm gonna pass to my colleague Marcos, who will talk more about how this diagnostic solution can be a key when we are doing preventive maintenance, and what is also common to the industry, and what we have to look at. Okay, so thank you very much, and now I let you in good hands. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jorge. Thank you very much for the first part of the presentation. Hello, everyone. And just going to continue with that. And as Jorge was saying, we're going to talk about the role of the diagnostics solutions in the preventive maintenance. Okay. For that, I'm just showing the software, the Jaltest OHW software, so that we can better understand the value of the diagnostics tools within this type of maintenance. For that, I'm going to use just a few real examples that they are going to reflect well common situations or scenarios that technicians have to face every day when trying to keep this equipment healthy and on shape. As Jorge just mentioned a few seconds ago, preventive maintenance is directly related or linked to periodic checks. So for that reason, the first example is going to be something that apparently might seem to be pretty basic, but at the end of the day is going to be super important, and is to have access to the vehicle service data. In other words, to have access to the maintenance guidance or the maintenance intervals recommended by the OE manufacturers. And yes, it is true that this information can be found in the user manual of the machine and even sometimes on internet. However, the reality is that most of the times we won't have access to that particular manual, and trying to find this information on internet could end it up by becoming into a headache, because the search is not always easy, and many times this information is not even available. That is the reason why having this information integrated in our diagnostic solution is going to save us a good amount of time and is going to make us work in a more efficient way. Okay, so let's take a look to the examples. Let's imagine for a second that we have a 960 series wheel loader from Caterpillar that has been working for 430 hours approximately. And we know that the machine is getting closer to the next service interval according to the manufacturer recommendations. However, the mechanic who is in charge of this service of this machine doesn't remember exactly when that moment is going to come. And what is more important, once that moment arrives, he wants to know what he has to do exactly, or what type of things have to be inspected. Okay, so thanks God, our mechanic made a good decision at some point, and he decided to invest in a diagnostic solution that is going to bring all this information integrated. Okay. So, for example, from the main screen in the software, if we want to go and check this service information for that particular Caterpillar wheel loader, we will click on heavy equipment, and then we're going to go to Caterpillar. Okay, so we go here, Caterpillar, and we just need to select the 900 series. All right, and then we go here, maintenance data. Here is where we're gonna find all this information. Okay, here we just need to pick the engine, the engine type that we have. Let's imagine that we have this one, and then we access to the information related to the different intervals. So if you remember, we said that this particular machine was in 430 more or less. So as you can see, the next interval is gonna be set in the 500 hours. Okay. So if you click here and then you want to check what to be done in the engine side, there are different things. But as you can see, not just in the engine, there are different things related to different systems, okay? Hydraulics, transmissions, and so on. So if we focus on the engine, we can see different things that have to be checked, okay, or has to be changed. For example, change of the oil and the oil filter, alternator belts, and so on. So just go here to check what type of information we're gonna find here, okay? So for sure the mechanic is gonna need, or is going to look for information about what type of oil they have to use, how much they're gonna need, okay, and what is gonna be the viscosity. So for example, Jaltest in this case is going to provide information about the quantity, okay, according to the different models, okay. In this case, we need to take a look here, okay. So we know that we exactly need 6.47 gallons according to the manufacturer, in this case Caterpillar, and also here we have information about the oil viscosity, okay. So there's going to be a good information there. All right, so let's get back. Okay, so we can see more things that we need to do here. In addition to that, for example, we need to clean the fuel tank filter. We need to change the primary and secondary fuel filters, okay? Also, there are some times that whenever we do this oil maintenance, we need to perform a reset, and for that, sometimes we need to use a diagnostic solution. So that's also another option, or another reason why these diagnostic solutions are going to be related to the preventive maintenance. Okay, so that was just one example. Let's imagine now that we are working in a Volvo heavy equipment, in this case another wheel loader that is already in the 500 hours of work, okay? But by that time, and following the recommendations of Volvo, diesel particulate filter has to be performed. So if we go here, we can check that. For example, let's go to Volvo now. As you can see here, we can find all the different brands that are included in off-highway. Okay, so we go to Volvo, and then we go to L series, and then we just pick any, okay, and or not any, but the one that is related to our model, of course. And then we go here to maintenance data again. Here's where you're gonna find always this information. In this screen, we just need to pick our engine configuration. In this case, this version of the final TL4. And we want to check what to be done in the 500 hours or after 500 hours related to the exhaust gases after treatment system. So as you can see, at this particular moment, we will need to carry out a diesel particulate filter regeneration, okay? So we know that this usually ends by calling a third party that has the capabilities or the technical resources to do that, right? So what about having ourselves the resources to do it by ourselves, okay, in our shop? And not just that, what about to tell us each particular interval with all the information, what to be done in each of these intervals, and of course having access to these particular actions, like in this case the particulate filter regeneration that we can just perform from here, from the software. All right. So I'm gonna get back to the presentation. Okay. We're gonna continue here. Okay, so we have seen just a few examples, like a vehicle service data, resets or DPF regions. All of them, they are directly related to the preventive maintenance, and all of them are accessible thanks to diagnostic solutions. We could bring many other examples for which a diagnostic solution can be useful, such as the calibration of the powertrain system, which is extremely recommended when we modify or replace any component of the system, or when we want to avoid malfunctions like noises, vibrations, and so on. So the goal of this maintenance action of the powertrain calibration is going to be to keep the doser performing smoothly. Something very important, if for example, we are just building roads with the doser and we need to synchronize both tracks of the doser in order to keep moving perfectly straight. Other examples, in addition to this powertrain calibration, is the calibration of the hydraulics, the calibration of the attachments, or for example, the reset of the pressure relief valve. Okay, so in addition to all these previous examples, the diagnostic solutions or the top diagnostic solutions in the market, they're going to offer technical service bulletins regarding different procedures that are released from time to time from the manufacturers. For example, I just remember one that is related to the rings of the AdBlue or DEF metering module of the SCR treatment system, which is present in some Mercedes-Benz stationary engines. So thanks to this TSV integrated in Jaltest, for example, or in any diagnostic solution, the mechanic or the technician is going to know how to proceed with just following the steps provided by Mercedes-Benz. Okay, so the good point of having a diagnostic solution is that all this information, all these technical releases or technical bulletins are updated periodically so that we can make sure that we're always accessing to the most up-to-date information from the original manufacturers. Okay, so we go now to the last part of the presentation, which is going to be the predictive maintenance. Okay, it seems clear that at least on these days, preventive maintenance is the most generalized strategy in the industry when it comes to ensuring the good health of our equipment and to extend the useful life. But what is next? What could we expect for the near future? Well, we all know that the world of maintenance is in permanent change, is in constant evolution, is improving day by day, and it does it faster than ever before. That is how it is. It looks like that we won't have to wait a long time until a new generation of maintenance become mainstream in the repair industry. In fact, we are already fully immersed in what is known as the fourth industrial revolution, that is also called the 4.0 or simply the data revolution. The 4.0 revolution is affecting not just this industry, but also the rest of the industries. And of course, the equipment, the heavy equipment, as I said, is not an exception. So this new era is based in three main pillars that you have there on the screen. The first one is going to be the sensors. The second one, the mass data storage. And the third one, the third pillar, is going to be the artificial intelligence. So we can see how today's, or everyone can see how today's machinery is full of computers, is full of sensors that are continuously registering and providing information. So for example, it's not difficult to find between 3 to 5 control units in the smaller compact machinery. And this number is going to increase, is going to be higher when we're talking about heavy equipment, where we could find up to 10 different computers. Okay, so of course there are less computers, there are less control units that in other industries, like for example the trucking industry, but it is catching up, and the number of these systems and sensors is growing day by day. So the question here is, why not taking advantage of today's technology and use it to take our preventive maintenance to the next level? Why not going further than just regular or periodic checks by incorporating a prediction component that is going to help in the definition and in the development of our maintenance plan? Okay, so let's sum up for a second, because I think it's important to understand from where the repair industry is coming from and where it is right now and what is the future direction. Jorge has already explained a few minutes ago. So just to sum up, we can agree that at this moment, the preventive maintenance is probably the most commonly adopted method between the different strategies or approaches. However, it has not always been like this. This type of maintenance or strategy is the evolution or the natural evolution of the corrective, or they also known as reactive maintenance. Okay, which philosophy is basically the one that says run it until it breaks. Okay, so we all know how this finishes. The future, and I will say even the present where we are right now of the repair industry, is necessarily linked to data monitoring and data analysis. Today's technology allows the gathering of information. Thanks to diagnostics and telematics application, now we can monitor the health status of the equipment in real time. We can check the performance, and even we can gather mechanical data. We can have access to important data such as fuel consumption, emission levels, engine RPM, speeds, temperatures for the oil, temperatures for the transmission, for the brakes, tire pressures, and much more. Of course, all these can be monitored, but also it can be registered for future analysis. We can even set up a system of alerts that will let us know when something goes wrong and the service is needed. But in addition to this, other important factors or information can be taken into consideration when designing a predictive maintenance plan, as for example, our knowledge about when our equipment will go through periods of lower activity or downtime. That is also very important when designing this predictive maintenance. Okay, we can conclude that thanks to the combination of the analysis of mechanical data plus historical data plus the industry knowledge, we will be able to somehow predict or to anticipate upcoming failures or issues in our machine, which is fantastic because it's going to allow us to take corrective action at the right time and not before. And it is right there where the repair industry is going right now. Actually, we're going to a kind of predictive maintenance approach or strategy. What seems to be clear is that the use of diagnostics and telematics applications are essential, again, in all this process, because thanks to them, we can evaluate the present or predefined conditions of specific pieces of our equipment and to take this useful information into consideration when establishing the maintenance plans of our company. Not only that, the most advanced solutions in the market will allow mechanics to even perform advanced functionalities like DPF regions, resets, and many other systems checks from the distance. And that is something that will save companies a lot of money and a lot of time in service and in maintenance, or in other words, something that is gonna change the approach, is gonna allow the companies to reach the highest possible levels of efficiency in their activities. Okay, so the reality is that the maintenance world is becoming something global and something more remote every day. We're going to finish off the webinar with a recommendation for anyone involved in the repair of highway equipment of any kind, and for anyone that is wanting to be prepared for the present, but also for the future challenges and needs of the repair industry. So the recommendation is that having access to a complete diagnostic solution will definitely help and will definitely contribute to fulfill the preventive and the predictive maintenance strategies, especially for all of you that are handling different makes and different models in your shop, and you want to be able to work in all of them. So a diagnostic solution like, for example, Jaltest Diagnostics, where you can have all this coverage in just one platform with all the technical information is gonna be key. Okay. So with that, we're gonna finish the presentation. We're gonna finish the webinar. We're gonna be here for a few more minutes, just in case you have some questions. But not. I don't want to leave without saying thank you to everyone for watching us today, and of course inviting you to keep following us in our social media, where we are very active, and where we are always offering like interesting content that can be useful for you. Okay, so thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye bye.